Aron Lee Ralston is an American outdoorsman, engineer and motivational speaker. He survived a canyoneering accident in southeastern Utah in 2003, during which he amputated his own right forearm with a dull knife in order to extricate himself from a dislodged boulder, underneath which he had been trapped for 5 days and 7 hours. After he freed himself, he had to rappel down a 65-foot sheer cliff face to reach safety. The incident is documented in Ralston's autobiography Between a Rock and a Hard Place and is the subject of the 2010 film 127 Hours starring James Franco. Background: Ralston was born on October 27, 1975, in Marion, Ohio. He and his family moved to Denver when he was age 11. He is a graduate of Cherry Creek High School in Greenwood Village, Colorado. He received his college degree from Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, finishing with degrees in mechanical engineering and French, with a minor in piano. At Carnegie Mellon, he served as a resident assistant, studied abroad, and was an active intramural sports participant. He left his job as a mechanical engineer with Intel in Phoenix, Arizona, in 2002 and moved to Aspen, Colorado in order to pursue a life of climbing mountains. He had the goal of climbing all of Colorado's 14 Euro peaks over 14,000 ft high, of which there are 59 solo and during winter. He subsequently achieved this goal in 2005. In 2003, Aron was caught in a Grade 5 avalanche on Resolution Peak, Colorado with his hiking partners Mark Beverly and Chadwick Spencer. Nobody was seriously injured. In August 2009, Ralston married Jessica Trusty. His first child, Leo, was born in February 2010. Accident: on April 26, 2003, Aron Ralston was hiking through Blue John Canyon, in eastern Wayne County, Utah, just south of the Horseshoe Canyon unit of Canyonlands National Park. While he was descending a slot canyon, a suspended boulder he was climbing down from became dislodged, crashing his right hand against the canyon wall. Ralston had not informed anyone of his hiking plans, so no one was searching for him. Assuming that he would die, he spent 5 days slowly sipping his small amount of remaining water, approximately 350 ml, and slowly eating his small amount of food, 2 burritos, while trying to extricate his arm. His efforts were futile as he could not free his arm from the 800 lb chockstone. After 3 days of trying to lift and break the boulder, the dehydrated and delirious Ralston prepared to amputate his trapped right arm at a point on the mid-forearm, in order to escape. He experimented with tourniquets and made some exploratory superficial cuts to his forearm in the first few days. On the 4th day he realized that in order to free his arm he would have to cut through the bones in it, but the tools he had available were insufficient to do so. When he ran out of food and water on the 5th day, he was forced to drink his own urine. He carved his name, date of birth and presumed date of death into the sandstone canyon wall, and videotaped his last goodbyes to his family. He did not expect to survive the night. After waking at dawn the following day he had an epiphany that he could break his radius and ulnar bones using torque against his trapped arm. He did so, then performed the amputation, which took about 1 hour with his multi-tool, which included a dull 2-inch knife. He never named the manufacturer of the tool he used, other than to say it was not a Leatherman but what you'd get if you bought a $15 flashlight and got a free multi-use tool. After freeing himself, Ralston still had to get back to his car. He climbed out of the slot canyon in which he had been trapped, rappelled down a 65-foot sheer wall one-handed, then hiked out of the canyon in the hot midday sun. He was 8 miles from his vehicle, and had no phone. However, while hiking out of the canyon, he encountered a family on vacation from the Netherlands, Eric and Monique Muger and their son Andy, who gave him Oreos and water and then hurried to alert the authorities. Ralston had feared he would bleed to death. He lost 40 pounds, including 25% of his blood volume. The rescuers searching for Ralston, alerted by his family that he was missing, had narrowed the search down to Canyonlands and flew by in their helicopter. He was rescued 6 hours after amputating his arm. Ralston has said that if he had amputated his arm earlier, he would have bled to death before being found, while if he had not done it he would have been found dead in the Slot Canyon days later. He believed he was looking forward to the amputation and the freedom it would give. Later, his severed hand and forearm were retrieved from under the boulder by park authorities. According to television presenter Tom Brokaw, it took 13 men, a winch and a hydraulic jack to move the boulder so that Ralston's arm could be removed. His arm was then cremated and the ashes given to Ralston. He returned to the accident scene with Tom Brokaw and a camera crew 6 months later on his 28th birthday to film a Dateline NBC special about the accident and to scatter the ashes of his arm where he said they belong. Aftermath of accident, mountaineering and adventuring. After the accident occurred, Ralston continued to climb mountains frequently, including participating in a 2008 expedition to climb Ojos del Salado in Chile and Monte Pisces in Argentina. In 2005, Ralston became the first person to climb all 59 ranked and or named Colorado's Fortinas solo in winter, a project he started in 1997 and resumed after the amputation in Blue John Canyon. While Ralston says he intends to climb Mount Everest, he did not go along with polar explorer Erik Larson on his Save the Poles expedition in 2010, as was previously reported. Media appearances. After the accident, Ralston made numerous appearances in the media. On July 21, 2003, Ralston appeared on The Late Show with David Letterman. On October 6, 2005, Ralston appeared on The Late Late Show in Ireland. On September 10, 2004, Ralston's story was featured on a 2-hour edition of Dateline NBC called Desperate Days in Blue John Canyon. Ralston has appeared twice on The Today Show, Good Morning America, and The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. He has also appeared on The Ellen DeGeneres Show, CNN's American Morning with Bill Hemmer, Minute to Win It with James Franco, Anderson Cooper 360 a Degree, CNN Saturday Morning, and CNBC with Deborah Norville. In 2006, Ralston was featured as a panelist in Miller Lite's Man Laws ad campaign. He also starred on the Australian interview show Enough Rope. Ralston was a contestant on the US television show Minute to Win It, where he won $125,000 for Wilderness Workshop. The episode aired on February 23, 2011, on NBC. Ralston provides his voice on The Simpsons episode Treehouse of Horror XXII as the voice on the other end of Homer's phone when he calls for help after getting trapped in a similar situation to Ralston himself. The episode aired on October 30, 2011. He took part in the reality show Alone in the Wild, where he had to survive in the wild with a video camera and a bag of supplies. The episode was aired November 9, 2011, on Discovery UK. As a corporate speaker, Ralston receives an honorarium of about $25,000 per domestic speaking appearance, and up to $37,000 for international speeches. On May 4, 2007, Ralston appeared at the Swiss Economic Forum and gave a speech about how he did not lose his hand, but gained his life back. Ralston documented his experience in an autobiographical book entitled Between a Rock and a Hard Place, published by Atria Books on September 7, 2004. It reached number 3 on the New York Times hardcover non-fiction list. It hit number 1 in New Zealand and Australia, and is the number 7 best-selling memoir of all time in the United Kingdom. Ralston delivered the commencement speech on May 15, 2011, at Carnegie Mellon University for the graduating class of 2011, and again on May 19, 2013, marking the first time the university ever hosted a commencement speaker twice. He has also appeared on the Comedy Central show Tosh Zero and a sketch with host Daniel Tosh and another climber in 2012. 127 Hours. British film director Danny Boyle directed the film 127 Hours about Ralston's accident. Filming took place in March and April 2010, with a release in New York City and Los Angeles on November 5, 2010. Fox Searchlight Pictures funded the film. Actor James Franco played the role of Ralston. The movie received standing ovations at both the Telluride Film Festival and the Toronto International Film Festival. Some members of the audience in Toronto fainted during the final amputation scene. A film received universal acclaim by critics, and review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes reports that 93% of 197 professional critics have given the film a positive review, with a rating average of 8.2 out of 10. At the 83rd Academy Awards in 2011, the film was nominated for 6 Oscars, including Best Picture and Best Actor for Franco. 127 Hours was also nominated in the categories for Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Original Score, Best Original Song, and Best Editing. Of the authenticity of 127 Hours, Ralston has said that the film is so factually accurate it is as close to a documentary as you can get and still be a drama, and satirically added that he thought it is the best film ever made. References. External links: Aron Ralston's official website, Aron Ralston's official Facebook page, Aron Ralston's official Twitter page, Cannonball by Atlanta rock band Capybara, a song inspired by Aron Ralston, Rudu, a climber's survival tale. Aron Ralston, in his own words, the story on BBC Outlook, the official 127 Hours UK Facebook page, the official 127 Hours UK Twitter page.